Yes, so you're still watching Power Breakfast on Citizen TV, and with some good music, and of course my panel of news reviewers this morning: Dr. Agnes Zani, nominated Senator and Secretary General ODM; Barak Muluka, political analyst; members of the National Assembly Njogu Barua and David Ocheng from Gishugu and Ugenya respectively. And we continue with our news review, and let's now look at nomination issues and the supremacy battles within parties, and the cutthroat competition for party tickets that awaits candidates eyeing elective posts next year is already turning violent. In Embu, Senator Lenny Kivuti and Runyenjes MP Cecily Mbarire nearly traded punches over the Jubilee party ticket for the governorship seat, while in Murang'a, rival Jubilee supporters fought over the control of the party offices. That's a report by Francis Gashuri. We'll also be looking at what Nairobi Governor has, the complaints that Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has against the party. Let's first watch the story by Francis.
A fundraiser in aid of upcoming musicians at Karurumo in Embu County quickly degenerated into a political supremacy contest, pitting Senator Lenny Kivuti against Runyenjes lawmaker Cecily Mbarire.
This is my constituency.
The scramble for Jubilee ticket in the Embu County 2017 governor's race prompting a clash that brings to the fore what awaits the freshly minted party, particularly from President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto's Mount Kenya and Rift Valley political bedrock.
After all I've done for you for 2 years, this is what you can do to me, the Wagan governor, to Kusame Kwadebe. Don't ever think you can bring this woman down.
Yule amekuta na hiyo kangroup aende nayo. Yule yako na wananchi ndiyo ataenda naye. Unakujua yule ambayo hana wananchi, hata akinunua pombe kwa watu 10 haisaidii.
At play in the Kivuti Mbarire scuffle is the negotiated democracy in Embu County, captured in a memorandum of understanding signed between the Embu and Mbarire communities prior to the 2013 general election on equitable sharing of key positions, the governor's seat allocated to the Embu County, while the senator's slot was set aside for the Mbarire community. Kivuti's sudden interest in the governor's seat upsetting Mbarire, who for 2 years has been strategizing on how to unseat the incumbent, Martin Wambora. She is from the Embu community, while Kivuti is from the Mbarire community. A similar showdown ensuing in Kandara constituency, Murang'a County. Opponents of area Member of Parliament Alice Mudhoni Wahome clashing with her supporters over the control of Jubilee party affairs in the constituency. Wahome accused of unilaterally rebranding the TNA offices into Jubilee party. The standoff in Embu and Kandara painting a picture of the simmering row in Jubilee party strongholds and the potentially vicious scramble for the party's tickets for various elective seats in next year's general election. The passage of a law barring party hopping once nominations have been conducted, making party primaries a do-or-die contest. While Kenyatta and Ruto insist they had no preferred candidates, the Embu-Kandara scenario setting the stage for what awaits the freshly minted political party.
I'm also a politician. I may not have your money, but I'm a politician. Elected by these people. So do what you want.
Francis Gashuri, Public First News.
Yes, raw emotions there, the vicious fight and scramble for Jubilee party tickets. I'm sure even ODM and CORD have their other problems, but let's start with you, Bona Njogu Barua. This constituency is not very far from the constituency you represent. Probably you understand the battles better.
I think maybe that proximity does not come in, but I'm saying yesterday, I watched these things on the TV yesterday night, and it's unbelievable. The character itself of 2 senior politicians fighting in public, exchanging bad words against each other, did not come out very well. what comes to mind is that the merging of Jubilee into one big political party comes in its own challenges. And it's like the president and the deputy, who are the party leader and the deputy party leader, didn't believe, they have said that there will be no preferred candidate. What is coming out is that the candidates themselves don't believe it because of what has been going on from time to time. There is still that issue of so-and-so is more preferred to me than the other one. When you go to the other side of court, it's not very different. Because the other day there was a list, which I shared with Agnes this morning, actually it was propaganda, which was saying that they are preferred candidates all the way, governor, senators, and members of parliament. So my take is that we need to have clear rules to guide the nomination, clear rules to show at what point do political parties, political candidates share platforms, because like these two people just met in a fundraiser for a musician. I know musicians are very popular people, and they put out of votes. So I think to me it's shameful, and if it is not contained, it is not going to spare Jubilee, neither is it going to spare CORD.
Yes.
It's going to act across the board. So what I would like to say is that CORD is a big political movement. Jubilee is a big political movement as well. So I think the two coalitions, to ensure that everybody gets their rightful position, so they don't complain of having been leagued, the two big major coalition parties or movements, I think they should subject themselves to having their nomination elections conducted by a neutral person or neutral entity.
Yes.
And that is either IBC or some other organization or another institution that is tasked with the responsibility of overseeing nomination.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you have the parties conducting them, parties which have not even put up nomination rules as per now, it will be difficult, it's going to be chaos, and the net effect will be, if there's going to be accusation of rigging on CORD side and on Jubilee side, there will be voter apathy come the general election, and that can take the election in bid and presidential direction.
Yes, and we're still months away from party nominations, months away, because no party has even indicated when they will conduct the party primaries. Are these the kind of scenes that we're looking at before we embark on the party primaries? From across the political divide.
Well, what I've seen, there will be child's play if you're not careful.
Is it?
If you're not careful, what you've seen, there will be child's play next year. And that's why I want to appeal to politicians. The world doesn't end with you not being whatever you want to be. The world doesn't end by you not being MP or governor or president for that matter. And I think we can do a politics, some modicum of stability, some peace, and we can still be heard. We can still be heard even if we didn't shout. We can still be heard even if we didn't cause chaos in public places. But I also want to talk to Kenyans that it doesn't add well to our politics. It doesn't help us if we shout at each other. If we are bought for alcohol, or at least we are bought to go and shout at each other, one another in political rallies. I see it every day. For me, this is not new. And I think we just need, as politicians, and we are here, three of us, I think if we agree that Kenya is bigger than all of us and that we can do our politics in a civil manner, these things will be avoided. But as you've seen in that clip, there's another thing we've been fighting against. The senator there is holding the microphone. He's finished speaking, but they want to let the microphone go to the lady politician. And people are blocking her from getting the microphone. The issue of violence against women in elections. So for me, that clip shows what is bad with our politics. That 9 months away to the elections, we're already behaving as if the elections are going to happen next week, and we are saying that we are ready to fight. That lady is saying we will fight and fight and fight, whatever happens. And so, like you said, things cool down if everyone knows that everyone has a fair shot. But if, like the list that was circulating, that list, my party, I've seen for example that in my constituency, I'm not the preferred candidate. Okay, but that doesn't worry me, because if I've worked hard in my constituency and I know that I'm going to campaign in a peaceful manner, I know they'll elect me. And so we should avoid this speculation. We should avoid these kind of things. And parties themselves must assure their members that everyone will have a fair chance at the nomination.
Yes,
but therefore politicians.
Agnes, you are Party Secretary General, and of course you're aware that such issues are not exclusive to your opponents, to your rivals, Jubilee. They could happen in your party as well.
Yes, they can happen in the party. And let me talk from the side of CORD. And these are the exact things that we avoided and we've been trying to avoid. Unfortunately, from the other side of the coalition, it's always been, you people are prone to this, we are not. Now the scenario has completely changed with what we are seeing. When we've been asking for issues like, security, where people have meetings, where things are being done, it'll be like, no, that is your way of doing things. What is clearly coming up 2 weeks after JAP is born is that this is not exclusive. Yes, yes, JP has been born. Is that these things are not exclusive to any particular side of the coalition. And the reason why is very simple. This ticket is the ticket. Depending on where you are, if your region is a region for a particular party, this nomination ticket, the primary ticket, is actually the ticket. So if you're in an ODM zone, once you get this ticket, you're home and dry. If you're in Jubilee zone, and this is why we have this sort of escalated fight. It's unfortunate, and it needs to be controlled. But then I think also when we talk about, therefore, the party primaries, that is very, very key. Once we have the sort of merger that we have had there happening, is that you're restricting the competition and making it very, very slim. Where there's broader competition, people feel they have a chance, they have space, they have a... No, but now we're talking about a very, very restrictive process, and that makes it difficult. And politicians will use whatever means. I'll tell you from a very definitive position from where I sit as Secretary General of ODM, that no list has been presented from our offices. If I was a politician on the ground, that's exactly what I would do as well, probably. Because that's a way of already showing, I'm already more favored. I want to talk about another very important thing that we're doing to change this sort of occurrence at the party level, is that we are devolving the structures downwards for nomination processes. And when we were unveiling the new NEB organ, we said it very, very clearly that we're going to have now at the county level and the constituency levels other boards that are going to, the same issue of fairness that we're talking about, so that we can actually be able to tell who is the popular candidate. As a political party, we gain by having the most popular candidate. Remember, this candidate is going to face off with another one. We don't have a candidate who we left, who went, for example, even to come in as an independent, making it that lessens the numbers for us in the National Assembly. So it's a good thing for everybody. Now, these specific committees are going to have membership of 5 and 3. At the constituency level, membership of 5. At the county level, 3. Those structures are being unveiled. We're in the process of also unveiling nomination rules. And the key thing is the cascading of these structures to the ground. And that really stimulates the sort of well-thought processes that ODM has put into place now to ensure that these issues are addressed in a systematic way. We haven't moved quickly to just talk about mergers, and I know this morning Mheshimiwa Kalonzo is talking about the coalition, but rightfully, I'm just touching on it now very briefly in line with this thought that I have. But at the end of the day, we're not talking about a merger, we're talking about a process, and this is what we all agree with. When we've been telling ourselves, we're talking about who is going to hold the ticket, we're saying there is a process. Let that process be followed. I think if we put the processes in place, of course it's a competitive scenario, but if we put the processes in place, we should be able to get out of this. At ODM, we have already started that process, and I think, as I said earlier, any politician who will go out there and say, I'm on the list, I'm doing this on the other, could be saying that as a violation. Any person tactful enough would think this is an approach to
and in a short while we'll be discussing that, because of course Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has already complained to the party. But on this matter of violence that we're already seeing, I need Barack Muluka to make a comment before we come back to the Secretary General for ODM.
Yeah, Mheshimiwa David Ochieng is spot on in my view that this is going to look like a children's Christmas picnic outing. That it's not a week since we sat here and we said that this kind of thing was going to become regular, common, everyday affair. That it's about the political parties that we have as tribal entities, and that each tribal entity has got a tribal owner who is the tribal leader. And this is regardless that it is in a Jubilee party or that it is in code, because even in code it's a formation of tribes, each with a tribal leader, and then there are tribal franchises that take up from the ultimate supremo, and that if you are not in their good books, you are in trouble. And then when they talk about things like free and fair nominations, that is a mere formation of words devoid of any meaning or value whatsoever. That when the tribal leader does not want you, or when the people who are closest to the tribal leader do not want you, you are in trouble. And they know very well that in Embu, if you are not part of that JP formation, you are in trouble. Cecily Marire and Lenny Kivuti had a pact more or less like that one which Tony Blair and Gordon Brown had in 1994 when their Labour Party leader John Smith died, and they agreed that I'm not going to run for leadership of the Labour Party, you will run and you will step down for me after such and such a period. But politics is also about treachery. It's about self-interest and the focus on oneself. So you're going to see more and more of this. And to the politicians, the political class, the message is very simple, that there's a big tsunami coming your way, and it's going to sweep you away like you've never been swept before. And the time for you to discover high ground is now. Mheshimiwa Njogu Barua, David, you are Secretary General. You are safe. You are going to be the execution. But these two here, they must assess their chances very carefully. And if they see that that tsunami is coming, the time to disengage is now. Between now and sometime in April next year, if you don't do so, we will be here joining hands with you in sympathy, telling you, Pole Sana.
Barua and Ucheng, you've been advised. But before we come to that, because I know you want to comment, connected to that and the list we're talking about, we're already aware that the Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has written a letter to the party, and it was addressed to the Secretary General, and so you're the right person to answer this. And it's based on comments attributed to the party's Director of Elections, Junet Mohammed, who at a restaurant in Nairobi, he apparently said that Kidero will not be the party's gubernatorial candidate in Nairobi. Now this is the same problem we are seeing already. As you say, I haven't seen that list, but apparently there's a list going around that they're preferred candidates. Now, when the Director of Elections of a party actually says this person will not be will not have our ticket, what does that mean?
One, the assertion and pronouncement of who finally has the ticket is not done from a pronouncement at between two people. That's why we have the organs. We have NEC and we have NEB. The final pronouncement of who finally has the ticket is a process that will be engaged in. And Governor Kidero did engage. Yes, he did write that letter, and we acknowledged that letter. And we proceeded to reply to the letter. I proceeded to reply to the letter and explained exactly this. As we say, we are 6 months away to the nominations. And there's so much that is going to be done. What happens if, for example, Juliet tomorrow says again, makes a public utterance and says, Kidero, you're the one who we were giving the nomination ticket to? And what if tomorrow again he says another assertion? So I think what we need to be very, very clear about is what are the processes. As we can see, for example, right there, this clip from Embu already highlights the whole issue of agreements that have been made silently. Here we have two people, the senator and the MP, who already had an arrangement. They already had arrangements about which ethnic group they're going to give it. These arrangements have been done at various constituencies. That was very, very clear, only for this shocker to come at the last minute. So what we know from the political circles and what happens in terms of politics is it is a competition. Everybody will be trying to strategize as best they can. And that's why it's for us as a responsibility from where I sit to ensure that such things are controlled to an extent that sobriety and fairness can actually excel. At the level of the playing ground, all this will come up, but at the end of the day, we need to turn back again to the organs and look at how those organs work and how those decision-making processes have to be made in such a way that they actually impute the motive for which they were made in the first place.
If the ODM Director of Elections said something similar about your position in Ugenya about the ticket,
They have said
would you,
so.
Would you
they have said so also before.
Because it's not just any party official, it's the director of elections.
The President, I want to tell you this, that free and fair nominations don't happen on the day of nomination. You must create a basis for it. You must convince your members that you're fair to do it. And you must make them comfortable that if they engage in the process, the right thing will be done. You see, when you listen, or you saw the letter that Kidero wrote, and you listen to what happens whenever you go for our rallies, wherever you are,